You notice her before anyone else does. Not because she's trying to be noticed. Quite the opposite. The room is busy. Conversations overlap. Someone is telling a story just a little too loudly. Another person is trying to impress everyone at the table. Yet she says very little. She watches. She smiles when something is genuinely funny. She asks one unexpected question, and suddenly the entire conversation shifts. It isn't confidence in the way most people imagine confidence. It's something quieter. People often assume that intelligence announces itself, that it arrives with perfect arguments, endless facts, or the need to be right. But neuroscience paints a more interesting picture. The brain becomes more efficient, not by reacting faster to everything, but by deciding what deserves a reaction at all. Psychologists sometimes call this cognitive inhibition. It sounds technical, but imagine your mind standing in front of hundreds of open doors. Instead of running through every single one, it calmly closes the doors that don't matter. That quiet filtering changes the way a person moves through life. And in many highly intelligent women, it creates habits that are easy to misunderstand. The first habit is becoming comfortable with silence. Most people experience silence as a problem waiting to be fixed. An awkward pause, an empty elevator, a dinner where nobody speaks for a few seconds. The instinct is immediate. Fill the space, tell another story, reach for the phone. But some women don't rush. They allow the silence to exist long enough for the real conversation to arrive, because people reveal themselves after the performance ends. The second habit is changing their minds without treating it as defeat. Picture two friends discussing an issue they've argued about for years. Halfway through the conversation, one quietly says, "I hadn't looked at it that way." There is no embarrassment, no desperate attempt to protect an old opinion. Identity becomes flexible instead of fragile. Psychologists connect this with intellectual humility, not thinking less of yourself, but believing that reality matters more than your ego. Ask yourself something. When was the last time changing your opinion felt more satisfying than winning an argument? Most people remember victories. Highly analytical minds often remember corrections because every correction is new information. The third habit appears almost invisible. They ask unusually precise questions. Not more questions, better ones. Instead of asking, "Why are you upset?" they might ask, "What happened just before you started feeling this way?" That single change often uncovers an entirely different answer. The human brain loves broad stories, but precise questions interrupt those stories. They force the mind to look where it normally wouldn't. The fourth habit is disappointing people. Not intentionally, quietly, consistently. Many intelligent women eventually realize they cannot be everyone's emotional caretaker. For years, they may have solved problems that never belonged to them, absorbed tension that wasn't theirs, smoothed conflicts they didn't create. Eventually, something changes. They begin noticing the hidden cost. Every unnecessary yes leaves less energy for meaningful work. Every forced smile teaches other people to expect another one. Boundaries are rarely loud. Most of the time, they sound like a calm sentence. "I can't do that today." Nothing dramatic, just honesty. The fifth habit is becoming suspicious of first impressions. Evolution designed the brain to judge quickly, because fast judgments once kept our ancestors alive. But modern life rewards something different: the willingness to pause, to wonder if the obvious explanation is incomplete. Someone seems arrogant, maybe they're terrified. Someone seems distant, maybe they're exhausted. Someone seems confident, maybe they've simply learned how to hide uncertainty. High intelligence often replaces certainty with curiosity, because assumptions can quietly become invisible prisons. The sixth habit is spending time alone without feeling lonely. Solitude and loneliness are often confused. One is the absence of people. The other is the absence of connection. They're not the same thing. A quiet afternoon reading, a long walk with no destination, an evening where nobody expects anything. For some minds, these moments aren't empty, they're maintenance. Neuroscience suggests the brain's default mode network becomes especially active during quiet reflection. This is where memories reorganize, ideas combine, and identity quietly updates itself. Sometimes, the most productive conversation you'll ever have happens with nobody else in the room. The seventh habit is noticing contradictions. Someone says they value honesty, yet they punish honesty every time they hear it. A company talks about creativity, yet rewards only conformity. A relationship speaks constantly about trust, yet survives on assumptions. Most people adapt to contradictions because they're exhausting to examine. Analytical minds keep seeing them, not because they enjoy criticism, but because the brain naturally searches for consistency. Psychologists call this reducing cognitive dissonance, the uncomfortable tension created when actions and beliefs no longer match. Some people escape that tension by ignoring it. Others quietly reorganize their lives around it. The eighth habit is protecting their attention. Modern technology competes for one resource more valuable than time: attention. Every notification is a small negotiation. Every interruption leaves a trace inside the brain. Highly intelligent women often become surprisingly protective of where their attention goes. Not because they're antisocial, but because attention determines thought, and thought eventually becomes identity. Where you repeatedly place your awareness, slowly becomes the person you are becoming. The ninth habit may be the most misunderstood of all. They don't need to appear intelligent. There is a strange freedom in no longer performing intelligence. No need to correct every mistake. No need to answer every question. No need to prove that you already knew. Real confidence becomes invisible. It leaves room for curiosity, for listening, and for learning from people others might overlook. The more secure a mind becomes, the less interested it is in advertising itself. Perhaps that's the quiet pattern connecting all of these habits. Not superiority, not perfection, just a different relationship with thinking itself. A relationship where silence becomes useful, curiosity becomes stronger than certainty, and growth matters more than appearance. If any of these habits felt strangely familiar, don't rush to decide what they say about your intelligence. Instead, notice what they reveal about the way your mind meets the world. Sometimes, the most important discoveries aren't the ones that make the loudest noise. Sometimes, they arrive quietly. And perhaps the quiet is where understanding has been waiting all along. If these conversations help you notice your own mind a little more clearly, stay with us. There is always another quiet truth worth exploring.